Here on Six Music, they're playing the Limelight in Belfast tonight. Do enjoy that if you're going. Now, every Monday on this show, it's Hometown Glory, each week celebrating a different place. And this week, it's London Town with the one and only Gary Numan. Now, this is so special. Gary Numan has done this especially for this show, sharing his memories of London and explaining why he loves it so much.
This is
BBC Radio
6 Music.
Chris Hawkins.
Hello, Chris. I was born in Hammersmith, West London, but in truth, I've never lived in London. I used to come in and out of it a lot, but I've never lived there. Strange enough, even though I live in Los Angeles these days, I probably spend more time in London than I ever did before. These days, I actually visit places rather than just drive by them and take them for granted the way I did when I lived here. Well, when I was very young, my dad was a London bus driver, and at Christmas, if he was on the right route, I'd travel on his bus with my mum to look at the Regent Street lights and other places around the West End. I really loved doing that. When I think back on my memories of London, it's not so much a walk through places where I would hang out with friends or that were close to me as I grew older. It's more a look back at a long list of incidents and adventures and excitement, fear even. I once saw a ghost in Piccadilly Circus underground station. I was about 15 and I was on my way to Shaftesbury Avenue with a friend to buy my first half-decent electric guitar. We were one of the last people off the train and we were following an old man who seemed to know the way. Just chatting to each other, excited about the future, about music. Nothing seemed odd about the man until he turned a corner and we followed him, only to find that the passageway we had turned into had been blocked off many years before, and it was now a dead end, and the man had vanished. And that freaked me out a bit. And I've used the image of that old man actually as my own image more than once, on the cover of an album called Dance and another called I Assassin. He was even sort of sneakily put in the window of the Replicas album, actually. It was in the lyric to Our Friends Electric as well. The line is, there's a man outside in long coat, grey hat, smoking a cigarette.
There's a man outside in a long coat, grey hat, smoking a cigarette.
That will come from this ghost that we saw. I spent a lot of time around that Soho part of London in those days, actually, mostly hanging out in music shops, Shaftesbury Avenue again, looking at gear I couldn't buy, dreaming of the future. It was in London that I had the experience that I wrote about in the Cast song, actually. Two men who I'd presumably annoyed somehow tried to get me out of the car and to give me a bit of a bashing, I assume, but I managed to escape the traffic by driving along the pavement, scattering pedestrians, and I got away. And definitely where the idea for the lyric of the song came from.
Here in my car, I feel safest of all. I can lock on my doors. It's the only way to live in cars. Here in my car, I can only receive. I can listen to you. It keeps me stable for days in cars.
In Finsbury Park, there's a place that used to be a great venue for bands called The Rainbow. I saw Queen play there once, actually, and after the show, I waited at the stage door to see them come out. And instead of just running through the crowd and into their limo like all the other bands I'd seen there had done, they actually invited everyone in. And they chatted to everybody and they signed things. And it was a real lesson to me in how to look after fans. And I've never forgotten it. When we were signed by Beggars Banquet, their main office was in Earl's Court. So for a while, that became like a second home to me. And I used to go to the boat show at Earl's Court with my dad every year, so it was an amazing feeling to be hanging out there or in that area as a signed artist. It made me feel very grown up. And their office was in Hogarth Road in Earl's Court, which is where I signed my very first autograph to a road sweeper, actually, who had seen us the night before when we did our first Top of the Pot performance. I recorded my second album, Replicas, in Chinatown in the West End, in the basement studio in Gerrard Street, I think, if memory serves. I remember it had a synth that had been chained to the wall, so it didn't get stolen. After that, we recorded my Pleasure Principle album at Marcus Music Studios, which I think at the time was in Kensington Garden Square. Frequent visits to the BBC Television Centre at White City for Top of the Pops, or to Broadcasting House to do radio. I spent a lot of my time in London in those days, even though I didn't live there. These days, I come back mostly for work, either touring or promotion. But if I get any free time, I do try to see as much of London as possible. With an enthusiasm I'm sad to say I never really had when I lived closer. So I've become an enthusiastic tourist. Recently I've been to the Houses of Parliament, Buckingham Palace, more museums than I can count. I've sailed up the Thames on a tall ship, been to shows at the O2 like Walking with Dinosaurs was the last one. We go to the theatre, to festivals, to so many different kinds of events, historic buildings, ghost tours, duck tours, you name it. I genuinely believe that I've seen more of London in the last 6 years than the 54 years before that. And I've grown to appreciate what a truly remarkable place it is, and to love it, and to be proud of it. I think when I lived in England, London became a place that I had to go to, but I couldn't wait to get out of. But now it's become a place that I look forward to coming back to. I think sometimes you can be so close to something, you don't truly see it.
In the silence, all of fears wrapped in hope and wishful thinking. It begins here, and I will hold you like a breath held in time. As the end comes, here we stand. So take my hand and watch the sunlight burn. Watch the sunlight burn. In the land here. In a moment
Numan. And It Will End Here. Our massive thanks to Gary for his so brilliant Hometown Glory. That's his new single, It Will End Here, off his Fallen EP, which came out on Friday. And he's playing tonight at St David's Hall in Cardiff, tomorrow at the Symphony Hall in Birmingham, Thursday night at the City Hall in Newcastle, Saturday night it's Bridgewater Hall here in Manchester, Sunday at the Shepherd's Bush Empire in London, and next Monday the Royal Albert Hall, followed by Tuesday night at the Concert Hall in Glasgow. Gary Numan on Six Music.